And welcome back to my channel, or to my channel. Today I'm going to be getting into a little bit about what's going on with the YouTube, Rick Beato, and Beato situation, and copyright strikes and claim. And something about the problem with YouTube has with this is the platform has essentially built a preemptive punishment system around a law that was never designed to operate that way. The DMCA was never meant to provide a legal framework for resolving disputes, not a platform level execution chamber where creators haven't even had their day in court. And I'll tell you a little bit about what happened to me. So I understand this system a little bit better than some others because I've been through it. I'm not a level of someone like Rick Beato or anybody else. All channel, not music. I did put it up public domain, the heck of it. And what happened in that case was I put up a movie, Dawn of the Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and I got copyright claims put against it. I said, wait a minute, this is public domain. So I disputed all of them. And the person I disputed against them decided, or the company or person decided they're going to punish me. So they put in a DMCA takedown notice. And I got a strike and the whole thing. The video was taken down. And I had to go through the whole process of this thing, disputing, counter disputing, whatever. Got to the point where this copyright holder, turns out it was a fraud, didn't own it at all, filed a lawsuit against me in the UK, filed paperwork, or submitted paperwork to YouTube to show they have a lawsuit against me and it took me a while to figure this out and go through all the detailing, the investigation. It turns out it was a completely fraudulent document made up, a legal document made up to look like it had royal stampings and all this. Turns out it was a total fraud. And I submitted that information to you. They put the video back up. And what happens was when they filed that fraudulent document against me, YouTube removed the strike but left the video down. But once I proved, there is no lawsuit against me, or if they had never actually gone to that step where had to file a lawsuit, the copyright would have been taken away anyway. But that's just the way it is. And I prevailed. And there are 3 videos up showing the whole process I went through and all the trauma, emotional trauma I went through to get this thing solved. It turned out it was just a complete and utter fraud, and somebody claiming something they had no right to claim. Now, Rick Beato's situation is on a scale beyond my comprehension. Been hit with 4,000 copyright claims, strikes, and all this out of the blue. And over the period of years he's been on here, probably the last 5 years, he's had to defend himself against 5,000 of these, 4,000 of these. And it's ridiculous. Now, Universal Music Group is hitting him with takedown notices. That's what they really are. DMCA takedown notices, where the company that purportedly owns the copyright or ownership sends YouTube a demand or a request that the video be taken down. And that's the strike, and that's how your video gets taken down. And it's not just Rick Beato, it's other people going through this kind of thing. No real reason. Let's get into some things about this. What happens if you get 3 or more DMCA takedowns at once? YouTube's system doesn't care whether the takedowns are staggered or simultaneous. If 3 DMCA takedown notices result in 3 copyright strikes, even within minutes of each other, your channel is at risk for immediate termination. Immediate consequences. Channel termination. YouTube may disable your channel without waiting for counter notification by you to resolve. Loss of access. You lose access to all content, analytics, monetization, community posts. And a ban on re-entry. You're prohibited from creating new channels under the same identity, your name, or IP. Even alternate accounts may be flagged. Yes, an IP, I mean your internet protocol address, your unique identifier assigned to your device or your network. And if your channel is terminated after the 3 strikes, YouTube may block your Google account, any associated channels, attempts to create new channels from the same IP or the same identity. Now, once you get a strike, takedown notice and a strike, what if you file a counter notices? YouTube still enforces the strikes before the legal process plays out. If you counter all 3 strikes, if you got 3, the claimants have 10 to 14 business days to file lawsuits against you. If no lawsuits are filed, the strikes are removed, but your channel may be already gone. Unless you escalate through support or legal channels, and that's not always possible in a short amount of time. And your channel's offline during this whole process. And it may be harder if they block your Google account too. You may have trouble getting a hold of anybody. So there's a lot of problems with that. Now, why this happens, you can have automated systems. Bots can file multiple takedowns in seconds, especially from large rights holders. There's no human review. YouTube doesn't pause enforcement to assess context or intent. Fair use is ignored. Even transformative or educational content is treated as infringing until proven otherwise. So you're already being punished before you have your day in court. This is especially dangerous because automated systems like Content ID allow mouse claiming with no human review. Creators are punished instantly, even if the claim is false. The disputes take weeks, and strikes can stack up before resolution, get over 3. And bad actors can weaponize claims to silence competitors or to monetize other people. And what if it is a false claim? A false claim occurs when someone asserts they own content they legally do not, either by mistake, automation, or outright fraud. They could be claiming public domain or fair use content, claiming original creator work, yours, claiming licensed or royalty-free media that's already properly been attributed as royalty-free, claiming entire videos based on a few seconds of unrelated material. Under Section 512 of the DMCA, anyone who knowingly misrepresents copyright ownership in a takedown notice can be held liable for damages. This was affirmed in Lens versus Universal case, where the court ruled that copyright holders must consider fair use before issuing a takedown. But here's the catch. Enforcement is rare, and platforms like YouTube don't proactively verify ownership before acting. Now, YouTube's copyright strike system is a total misuse of DMCA intent. The DMCA takedown notices are meant to initiate a legal process, not conclude it. YouTube treats them as final judgments, issuing strikes and removing videos before any legal resolution. If a creator files a counter notice, the law requires the claimant to file a lawsuit within 10 to 14 business days or the claim is void. But YouTube doesn't wait. They punish immediately, and channel terminations can occur before the legal process plays out. Why this is legally and ethically problematic. It inverts due process. Creators are penalized before guilt is established. It discourages fair use. When educational or transformative content gets, it empowers bots and bad actors. Mass takedowns can be weaponized, especially against creators like Rick Beato, who operate in good faith. It violates the spirit of the DMCA, which was meant to balance rights, not automate censorship. That's what it is. Now, what would be a fair system? What would it look like? Immediate removal only if the creator doesn't respond. If a counter notice is filed, the video should be marked under legal dispute, not struck. Strike should only be applied if the claimant wins in court or the creator fails to respond. Multiple simultaneous claims should trigger a review pause, not instant termination. And as I said, it is censorship. Fair use is a legal defense. And in Rick Beato's case, let me show you why is his content is fair use. His purpose and character of the use. Beato's videos are educational, transformative, and often non-commercial. He doesn't just play music, he analyzes, explains, and teaches. Courts favor uses that add new meaning or message, which his breakdowns clearly do. And he quoted as saying, "When I use someone else's music in one of my videos, I am usually, if not always, within YouTube's guidelines of fair use," stated in his Senate testimony. And the nature of the copyright. He uses published music, is protected, but the law allows limited use for commentary and critique. His clips are often short excerpts, not full songs or performances. Amount and sustainability. Beato typically uses brief segments, just enough to illustrate a music point. He doesn't exploit the heart of the work for entertainment. He isolates technical elements for instruction. His effect on the market, his videos don't replace the original music, compete with it. In fact, they often promote the artist's work, leading viewers to explore full versions. Not monetizing the music, many of his videos are demonetized by default. YouTube treats fair use as a post-strike appeal, not a preemptive protection. Beato's work is clearly transformative, but automated systems and aggressive rights holders ignore context. The DMCA allows takedowns before any legal review, which means creators like Rick Beato are punished before trial. Yes, it does, and I think it's just YouTube making that decision, not. So when they get a claim against you or whatever, takedown, strike, and you wonder why you defended yourself, why the videos will put back up after just saying, hey, it's fair use. It's because the DMCA does allow takedowns before requires it. Under the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, a copyright holder can send a takedown notice to a service provider like YouTube, and the provider is legally obligated to remove the content immediately to avoid liability. There are no requirements for prior review or adjudication before the takedown happens, and this is baked into the law's safe harbor. Platforms are protected from liability only if they act quickly to remove allegedly infringing content upon receiving a valid notice. But they don't pre-check that the claim is valid. Investigate whether this person or company or this claimant has legal rights. Now, YouTube's system is built to comply with the DMCA, but it adds its own enforcement layer. YouTube issues copyright strikes when it receives a DMCA takedown. 3 strikes equals channel termination, even if the creator disputes the claim. YouTube does not wait for the legal process to play out before enforcing penalty. So yes, the DMCA allows takedowns before review, but YouTube chooses to punish creators before resolution, which is not required by law. It's a platform policy. Why this matters? Rick Beato isn't just a creator, he's a case study in how fair use is being eroded by automation and corporate overreach. His work honors the spirit of the law, but platforms and labels are enforcing compliance over clarity. And that's exactly what I mean. Exactly. That's the core distinction most people platforms have been blurred. YouTube's fair use guidelines are not law. They're a corporate interpretation designed to protect YouTube liability, not to uphold your rights as a creator. What Rick Beato is defending isn't a policy. It's a legal doctrine codified in the U.S. copyright law under Section 107 of the Copyright Act. Fair use is a legal right, not a platform privilege. It's not granted by YouTube. It exists regardless of platform. It's not subject to automated review. It requires human contextual judgment. It's not a defense after punishment. It's a shield meant to prevent wrongful takedowns in the first place. Why this matters in Rick Beato's case. Rick isn't asking you to allow fair use. He's asserting that his work, educational, transformative, non-commercial, is protected by law. The fact that YouTube removes his videos and issues strikes before any legal review is a violation of the spirit of that law. Fair use is not a loophole. It's a right. And it's being ignored by automated systems that punish creators before any court has ruled. That's the real fight, not just for Rick, but for every creator he to teach, speak, or transform. Platforms treat fair use as optional, then creators are guilty and innocent, and the law becomes irrelevant. I find this kind of thing so interesting because, back in my day, we had what was called radio. DJs would play songs, and most times the companies would have to pay to promote their song. And of course, there's all this kind of thing because promotion leads to expansion. So what Rick Beato does, and other people like him, it interests people in that small segment, and you might look into, oh, I want to find out more about this band I never heard of, or this singer I never heard of. And, the professor of rock's going through the same kind of stuff, but who's doing top 10 list. So it's really just, it's getting out of control. Automation, and the non-review process. Like I said, people like me, I'm just a small creator. I use fair use stuff. Sometimes I put up public domain videos. I do things like that. And I get some backgrounds on things that are public domain or freely licensed. But what if somebody came in and just said, I own this? What if they did it 3 or more times? My channel could disappear just based on that. Any Tom, Dick, or Harry can file a DMCA takedown request with YouTube, and YouTube has no responsibility to validate their claim of ownership before they do that. So if you have a competitor, your channel comes in with a false identity and puts down a bunch of copyright strikes against you because you're competing against them, they want your channel down. They want your videos down so that it won't grow or you won't stay there. Get frustrated and give up. And in my case, with the copyright issue with public domain movie, the fake guy, the fake company, thought I wouldn't take it all the way there. And then he thought, once I saw a legal document filed in the UK, which is real hard for, they have to file it in the United States. They have to. But they filed it in the UK. He thought once I saw that document, I'd just quietly go away. Stop fighting this, and I'd delete the video, and it will never come back up. Well, it came back up. Once they file that legal document, that should be the point. I think that YouTube should have to put the video back up. Not just remove the strike, which they will do. Once a lawsuit has been filed and proven to be filed, or at least evidence, fake or not, presented that being taken to court, I think the video should go back up. I think the strike should go away. The strike for sure, but I think the video should go back up because now it's in the court's hands. It's their decision what happens next. And this video shouldn't have to stay down just because someone made a claim. So once they 10 to 14 days, what happens to people who do this all the time, file these kind of takedown claims, and then never follow through to the end? Well, your video could be down a month or two before, and after you've appealed everything, before it can go back up. And there's no consequences against the person who filed this against you. And they can do it again and again to other people and play that whole thing out, and your video will be down. And I think it's a sad thing. So, and another thing that really bothers me is that the way YouTube treats creators like they're peons, like they're serfs. But the reality is we're business partners. We create the content that makes YouTube money, keeps YouTube going, expands YouTube. But they treat us like, we're partners. We don't work for YouTube. They don't work for us. Business partners. And you don't treat a business partner that casually. And that's what they're doing. Without our content, there would not be a YouTube. And they wouldn't be making any money. It's our content that keeps YouTube going. But they treat us like we're insignificant and basically employees. You do the work, shut up, and if we want to punish you or fire you, we will. Well, that doesn't quite fly. And I think we need to maybe get something going, make YouTube understand that their policies, free takedowns, takedown notices, three strikes, you're out. Now, they need to start following the law, and it may take a class action lawsuit, and it may take a lot of push to do that. But we creators, even us small creators, us nothing creators, my channel, nothing. But even I've been attacked. That should tell you something. I've been targeted and attacked by fraudsters. And if I'm getting attacked that way, you gotta thank Rick Beato and the Professor of Rock, Rick Beato, Professor of Rock, and everybody else that are doing stuff all the time like this. But to me, it's no different than one of those television shows. They show clips from movies and Roger Ebert and all that. They didn't have to pay. They didn't have to pay to have those clips on. Movie theaters want them to promote. That's what they're doing. And Rick Beato's doing even more than that. He's been around a long time. To stand with him, Professor Rock and others, the real people who've got some money to fight all this stuff. But for me, any copyright claim I get, or copy that I know is false, or against fair use, I know it's there, I'm taking it all the way to the end. I'm going to tell them, go ahead and file a lawsuit. Because, I don't need a lawyer for that. I need a lawyer if they take me to court, but who's going to take me to court? They go that far from my piddling little channel, then that means they've got something else in mind. Anyway, take care, and I'll see you again at another time.